Hello, I'm Todd Michael Putnam. In this fourth episode of Creatures in Catacombs Rules in Action, we're going to look at the rules for death saves. And we're also going to look at a visual mechanic for death saves that you might enjoy adding to your own campaigns. We'll check out how these rules work and then take a look at an example of them in action. As always, adventure awaits, so let's get right to it. The loss of hit points isn't really what kills a character in 5th edition. It's the failed death saves that actually determines if a character lives or dies. And nothing brings out drama like the potential death of a beloved party member, especially if it's your own. In Creatures in Catacombs, some of the rules around death saves do remain the same, but there are some unique changes too that help to heighten the drama. First, here's what the same is in D&D 5e. When players get to 0 hit points, death saves are rolled against a flat, uncontested DC of 10, and 3 failures will result in a death. A nat 1, when rolling for a death save, counts as 2 death save fails. But here's what's different in Creatures in Catacombs. Death saves failures are semi-permanent until a long rest or a nat 20 save resets them. And being hit while at 0 results in an immediate death save roll, which may succeed or fail. Also, a nat 20 automatically stabilizes the character and removes all failed death saves. Let's also take a quick look at a visual mechanic that I use in my own campaigns. I use the Reaper minis as a visual representation of how close to death the characters are regarding death saves, and we'll use them here to help illustrate death save rules for that same purpose. And the Reapers work like this. Whenever a character drops to 0 hit points for the first time, they wake up in a shadowy world between life and death that looks similar to the world like Frodo would see in the Lord of the Rings movies whenever he put on the ring, all shadowy and dark. And 30 feet away from the character, they see the Grim Reaper. Every time they fail a death save, the Reaper moves 10 feet closer to them. Once they have failed 3 death saves, the Reaper is on top of them and cuts the silver cord of life with their scythe, and the character will die. It allows not just the player, but the rest of the party to see just how close to death, literally, the character in jeopardy is. So that's the visual mechanic for death saves using the Reaper minis. Now let's look at an example of the death save rules in action, using the Reapers to help illustrate what's going on. Serena Spellsoul has taken a Spelljammer ship high into the sky to seek knowledge from the druids of the floating forest. But the sky druids are fiercely territorial and reclusive. After failing multiple persuasion rolls badly, the druids turn hostile and fire multiple spells at Serena. The resulting damage brings her down to 0 hit points, and so she falls. The Reaper appears 30 feet away from her, and she immediately rolls her first death save. Rolling the d20, Serena gets an 8 and fails her first death save, which she marks down on her character sheet, and the Reaper moves 10 feet closer. An instant later, another druid hits Serena with an attack spell when she's already down. Serena rolls for another death save and fails again by rolling a 4. She now has 2 failed death saves, and the Reaper moves another 10 feet closer. One more failed death save, and Serena dies. Heelhammer the Dwarven Cleric runs up to Serena's body and casts a strong healing spell, stabilizing her and bringing her back to health. But the 2 failed death saves remain until after a long rest. If she falls to 0 hit points again, the Reaper will reappear just 10 feet away. Heelhammer convinces the druids that they're leaving immediately and to just please let them get back on their ship. The druids agree, and Serena and Heelhammer get on their ship to sail away. Moments later, as they attempt to sail their ship away from the floating forest, the impatient druids fire off more spells, and Serena once again drops to 0 hit points. The Reaper appears again, this time only 10 feet away, because Serena still has 2 failed death saves to her name. She rolls her d20 for a new death save and gets a 12. It's a success. Serena now has 2 failed death saves from her previous near-death experience and 1 successful death save. She's still really close to death. On the next round, she rolls a nat 20 for her death save, which automatically stabilizes her and removes her 2 failed death saves. If she drops to 0 again, the Reaper would start from the full 30 feet away. If Serena had been healed by other means and survived long enough to take a long rest, the 2 failed death saves would have been removed on their own once the long rest was finished. Let's do a quick recap. 3 death save fails still kill a character. Death save failures, however, are semi-permanent until a long rest. And a hit while down results in a death save roll, not an automatic failure. A nat 1 results in 2 death save fails, and a nat 20 automatically stabilizes the character and erases all death save fails. That's going to cover it for this episode of Creatures in Catacombs Rules and Actions. There are so many other interesting and exciting ways that the Creatures in Catacombs 5e Homebrew Rules Supplement add options to your adventures, such as rules for possession, curses, spell duels, swarming attacks, fumble tables, and even level compression for extended low-level, high-drama campaigns. If you are ready to see all the ways that CNC makes adventuring more exciting, you can go to dmsguild.com, search for Creatures in Catacombs using the ampersand symbol, and you can download the entire Creatures in Catacombs 5e rule set absolutely free. Thank you so much for watching. May all your adventures be epic.